This episode is brought to you by Google Chrome. You think you know a browser, but Gemini and Chrome? That's new. It can help you with practically anything on the web, like restoring a vintage motorcycle from a 50-page restoration blog, or finally break down that long article you've had open for weeks. Gemini and Chrome is here for it. Ready to make anything online make sense? There's no place like Chrome. Check responses, setup required, compatibility and availability varies, 18+.
Are all batteries the same? That's like asking if all soccer players are the same. Take Messi, the most decorated player ever. Is there any other player who has achieved that? No, just him. Now take Duracell. Is there any other battery with power boost ingredients inside? No, just Duracell. Remember, goats only trust goats because they're built different. And Messi only trusts Duracell.
Welcome into First Things First Overtime. We have a busy show for you today. What's next for the Celtics after trading Jaylen Brown? Kevin O'Connor hops on in just a bit. Then, can the Ravens get over their playoff woes in this new era in Baltimore? Now, former Raven, but still current NFLer, Kyle Van Noy joins us in studio. And finally, how high did the U.S. men's national team jump up Dax's power rankings after the big win over Bosnia? I'm Danny Parkins alongside our FTF soccer analyst Dax McCarty. You will update your big board a little bit later in the show. But first, if you wouldn't mind, sir, remind me, who had 2-0 USA over Bosnia? Which one was it?
I do believe it was this guy right here. I don't want to gloat too much, though.
This is the old blind squirrel finding a nut situation.
Some of my predictions in this World Cup, I've got to eat some humble pie, but that score prediction, me and my guy Brew got it right.
What have you done for us lately?
True, exactly.
You're 1 for 1. Well, the 4th of July fireworks came early for Team USA last night, topping Bosnia 2-0 to advance to the round of 16. Folarin Balogun got himself a goal and a red card, which we will get to momentarily. Tillman came out after with a stunner to put the USA up to one of the great goals in the history of U.S. soccer. Here's head coach Mauricio Pochettino on the team's mindset after the red card and their fight to the finish.
That was the moment to show to everyone, that to show ourselves that it's not only empty words when we say that we are a family. And I think the team showed the qualities, the capacity to compete, to fight for each other. Yes, I think so proud about the players. They are the heroes. They are the principal actor, and they deserve all the credit.
Dax, a lot happened in a 2-0 match last night. What did the U.S. prove with that win?
Well, they met the moment. And at a time where U.S. soccer has never been under U.S. men's soccer national team has never been under more pressure, the expectations have never been higher. They absolutely met the moment and played, again, another fantastic game, a different game than we saw them play in the group stage, where when that specific 11 had been on the field in the first 2 games. And obviously Pepe came in against Australia, but the majority of that group was on the field. They completely dominated. They attacked with numbers. They finished well. They were efficient in front of goal. That wasn't the case in the first half against Bosnia. They were made to work for it. They had to be patient. They didn't show any panic. They showed personality. They showed character. And in that first half, once they got the goal, there was absolutely zero doubt in my mind that they were going to go on and win that game. And like Pochettino described, after the red card, I still wasn't worried. And the U.S. men's national team actually didn't even look like they were playing down a man, which is the best compliment I can give a team.
They increased their lead.
They increased their lead, but also they showed no fear. They kept attacking. They didn't sit right on top of their goal, but they showed character. Because you have to defend in certain moments like that, but the biggest compliment I can give them is that when Balogun went off the field, they still played for him. And they still played for the crest, and they made sure that there was no doubt who was going to advance in that moment of adversity, which I wanted to see from them. I wanted to see when adversity struck, how would they react? They were perfect in every facet of the game.
A clean sheet, which is nice. They had not done that very much the last couple of years, frankly, for Team USA. We talked about if they had a margin for error against Bosnia, like what would happen if things went wrong.
Sure.
Well, things went wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they still won and showed that resolve. I completely agree. And then on the Tillman set piece specifically, that free kick.
Beautiful.
And again, this is my own bias.
Sure.
At no point when they were like lining up for it and they're setting up the wall and they're talking to the track, at no point did I really think like, oh, this is going to go in.
Yeah.
And you just don't really see that in the history of U.S. soccer. That's the type of thing that you see top clubs, top countries be able to pull off. Like, that was one of the more stunning moments that I've had watching soccer as an American.
Danny, but let's take it a step further. It's not just for U.S. soccer and U.S. men's soccer. That is one of the hardest skills in the world. There are very few players. If you watch his technique, the way he strikes the ball, the way he opens up his hip, and the way he kind of puts a little bit of top spin over it, as well as that spin that makes it go into that far corner. If you or I tried to do that, we'd dislocate our hip and tear our groin.
Yeah, I'd miss the ball.
But that is a technique that is so unique and so rare that a player is able to accomplish. Truly a stunning goal from Malik Tillman, by the way, a player who has been one of our best players, full stop, at this World Cup. A player whose stock has not only risen, but risen to the top of the heap when it comes to not just the men's national team, but all players in the World Cup. He has been excellent.
So obviously, let's talk red card. It kind of hangs over everything. It hangs over the game, the win, the accomplishment. It almost hung over Country Road, like, the celebration after the game last night. So they'll take on Belgium, and it will be without Flo Balogun. We'll get into the specifics of that in a second. But do you feel like it was deserved?
So this is a very nuanced answer, okay? And I hope you bear with me. The quick, direct answer that I can give you is no. I do not feel like it was a red card.
Okay, we are in agreement.
But you have to go a little bit deeper than that. And we're seeing these pictures right now. The frames are slowed down. The freeze frame, it looks bad. Because when you freeze anything, any coming together where studs are involved and players come together and legs get tangled up, you can make it look like a red card offense. My first problem with this, there's a couple layers here. The referee sees this play. His view is not obstructed. He can see exactly what happens, and he determines that this is not even a foul. Okay? We're not talking about he called a foul and gave a yellow card. We're not talking about that. He doesn't even determine that this is a foul. That's the first problem. The second problem is that VAR, when you slow things down, and we have seen 4 or 5 different occasions during this World Cup where a play happens and it's a tackle with some players involved, and then you don't think anything of it in the moment, but then you see a replay and you see it slowed down and you're like, okay, yeah, that doesn't look great. But that does not mean it is a red card. And now one thing that I think is going out there, floating out there, that I think needs to be said is that a lot of people are saying he didn't mean to do it. There was no intent there.
That's not a part of this.
When it comes to judging red cards, intent does not matter. I hope people understand that. Because you cannot get inside a player's head. So the way I look at this, was it accidental? Yes. Was it malicious? No. Does it look really bad on freeze frame? It does. But now we are letting the VAR go back and re-referee a moment that the ref has full control of. And when the VAR calls the referee over, there is 99% of the time only going to be one outcome. At a certain point, logic, common sense, and context have to come into play when we talk about big moments like this. Let the referee do his job and see the play and think, okay, is it endangering the safety of an opponent if I freeze this here? Bam, right there, and the guy looks like he's about to break his ankle? Yes, most people can agree that looks like endangering the safety of an opponent. But use logic. Unless we just want robots to referee all the games from here on out, the personal human element of the referee, the subjective nature of what that looks like in real time has to factor into it. It's a yellow card at most.
So here's Nick showed the letter of the law earlier this morning, and there's a lot of articles being written about it. And I guess my biggest issue with it, other than it just not seeming just in the moment, given that it didn't feel intentional. I know that's not part of it. There was no yellow card called on the field. Okay, fine, they go to VAR. But if we actually show the VAR protocol and we read from it, it can check the footage in normal speed and or in slow motion, but in general, slow motion replays should only be used for facts. Position of the offensive player, point of contact for physical offenses and handball, ball out of play. Normal speed should be used for the intensity of an offense or to decide if it was a handball offense. So that last part, normal speed should be used for the intensity of an offense.
Correct. It's not excessive force.
But that isn't what happened, though.
No.
Because they were using slow motion in the review to ultimately issue the red card. And, no big deal. It's just the best striker
we have
on Team USA out for the biggest game in the tournament. And I will be honest. Again, I get nothing to do with the audience except be honest. I knew that when you got a red card, you were out for the game and you were suspended for the next game.
Yep.
I knew that rule, obviously. I did not know that there was no review process.
Correct.
After the fact.
No appeal process.
That there was no appeal process. That doesn't
feel right.
Well, it doesn't feel right. I understand the argument of, like, it has to be black or white or else there could be corruption that would come in from an appeal process and all that. But if they deem that VAR was applied incorrectly here, should there not still be some gray area between now and Monday for that to be rescinded? Like,
no question.
Honestly, tell me if I'm crazy, because I might be.
If VAR was applied incorrectly, there absolutely should be consideration.
But is it crazy that I am holding out hope that Balogun will play Monday? Because if people are writing that they used VAR incorrectly, and there are governing bodies over this whole thing, I know there is no appeal process, but is it completely crazy to say they should not have called that on the field because they used slow motion, therefore we are going to amend the suspension? Is that 1% possible?
The problem is in the language, slow motion replay is also included at the top. Right,
but not for the severity of the offense.
Sure. So I think we're getting into real nitty-gritty, like, weeds of.
If I'm asking for a 1% chance, you're going to give me 1%?
I think you're probably looking at less than 1%, but I think you and Nick need to lead the crusade to get an appeal started. That would be good for us.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
I'm telling you there's a small chance.
All right. Okay. What about the chances against Belgium without Balogun? Because the first thing I did when I woke up this morning was I checked the odds.
What are we looking like?
Gambler in me.
Of course.
They're favored.
Yeah.
They're still favored.
Which
now,
is
that feels like host country advantage. Like if this was the World Cup in Qatar and it's a neutral field, not favored. Obviously, if it was around Belgium, it would not be. But it seems to me like they can still win. But if we just throw up what Balogun has meant to this team, and anyone who's been watching knows what he's meant, but just look at the stats. Guy having 3 or more goals with no one else on the team having double digits.
Yep.
He's so massive. No one else on the team has more than 1 goal. No one else on the team has more than 7 shots. He has 11. It feels like such a massive drop-off.
It is.
That my confidence is shaken.
Yeah.
I'll admit.
And I would say my confidence level going into this game, without Balogun, I am still cautiously optimistic.
Sure.
And I am still confident that we get the job done against Belgium, because I look at the form of both of the teams. And Belgium beat us, by the way, back in March, 5-2.
5-2.
And so
now again, weird game.
That was a friendly. We were missing a big portion of our starting contingent right now. Our core players: Matt Freese, Chris Richards, Tyler Adams. They all didn't play. Alex Freeman didn't start. The U.S. men's national team, the argument could be made, is playing some of the best soccer of their lives right now. They are playing at a very high level. The Belgian national team, they haven't looked good in this World Cup. Against Senegal, there was only one team on the field for 60 minutes. And then Senegal fell apart at the end, and Belgium came back, and they ended up winning the game. Now, you have to respect the quality of their players, but their players, their golden generation, for lack of a better expression, they're ancient.
They're in their golden years.
They're in the twilight years, okay? We're younger, we're fitter, we're more mobile, and quite frankly, I think that X factor is the home field advantage, which we have used fantastically well this entire tournament. I absolutely think the U.S. men's national team are favorites to win this game, and I'll be mildly disappointed if we don't win this game.
I mean, it'd be a huge disappointment, especially given the circumstances around Balogun.
But you also have to respect the quality of Belgium that they still have.
Well, we'll talk more about it over the course of the show tomorrow and Monday, of course. Dax, thank you. I'll see you in World Cup Corner later on. To the NBA, huge news as Jaylen Brown is now a 76er. The Celtics trading Jaylen Brown to Philadelphia in exchange for Paul George, a 2028 first, a 2031 first, and second-round picks in 28 and 30, and that's it. This comes after Jaylen Brown was the front piece in a trade offer to Milwaukee for a guy named Giannis, and coming off a season where he finished 6th in MVP voting. An NBA awards voter and podcaster and writer for Yahoo Sports, Kevin O'Connor, joins me now. KOC, thank you very much for the time. This is a shocking moment. The NBA world seems to be reacting with somewhere between confusion and bewilderment here. Are you as surprised as everyone else that Brad Stevens and the Celtics did not get more for Jaylen Brown?
Definitely a shocker. I mean, the fact is that Philadelphia was in a position with Paul George having 2 years left on his contract, over $50 million annually, where that might have been a salary dump to have to give up a first-round pick to get off of Paul George, and then to only have to give up an additional first and 2 second-round draft picks and get back a guy who just finished 6th in MVP voting, who 10 days prior to the deal was right on the 1-yard line of being traded for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah, it's absolutely shocking, and this does not feel like a Brad Stevens move after he has pretty much nailed every decision that he's made, both in the draft and in trades. Every big major decision has been nailed by Brad Stevens, and then we get this. So it just feels very unusual given where the Celtics were coming from, given the context of everything that just happened and the season that both Paul George just had playing 25 games and Jaylen Brown having an excellent year.
So if it feels strange, it probably is. Like Brad Stevens, I've mentioned it before. I wrote a book on the NBA. You know about it. Pipeline to the Pros, how D3 small college nobodies rose to rule the NBA. Shameless plug. I talked to countless coaches and executives for that book. Brad Stevens, chief among them. He was one of the signature interviews for the book. I've been doing this media thing for a long time. He's probably the single smartest person I've ever spoken to in sports. Like, he left a job at Eli Lilly to go into basketball. If he had stayed at Eli Lilly, there's a good chance he would be running that company now. This guy is not dumb. So I don't believe he just got fleeced for Jaylen Brown. He didn't just I just have to get Paul George's bad contract, right? Like, something happened here that we do not know about. And my gut tells me that the Bucks were never really considering acquiring Jaylen Brown, and that the rest of the league does not value Jaylen Brown in the same way that the media valued Jaylen Brown. KOC, this strikes me as one of the biggest disconnects between analytics and the eye test and the media that I have ever encountered in sports. You all voted this guy 6th for MVP. He felt slighted by it, thought he should have been higher, thought he should have been a top 5 finisher, first team All-NBA, and he was just traded for one of the worst contracts in the sport. The smart people seem to disagree with the media people on how good of a basketball player Jaylen Brown is.
Well, what did you just say there, Danny? You said he finished 6th in MVP voting, and he felt slighted by it.
He did.
So that speaks to the ego aspect that we're talking about here, these intangible qualities that we're talking about with Jaylen Brown that are part of the equation. So, like, you have the analytics people. Analytics say Jaylen Brown is overrated compared to the eye test with the raw numbers, right? But you also have the people who do use the eye test, the people test, and say, well, this guy isn't as great as he thinks he is, and there's no putting him back into the Robin role to Jason Tatum's Batman. And so Boston may have felt that way. Other teams may have felt that way, like, we can't win with this guy as our best player if that's what he perceives himself to be. Philadelphia, they might not even feel that way, but they're just taking the risk, the gamble on a guy who just finished 6th in MVP voting. But I do think that element that you're hitting on is part of it here with Jaylen Brown, with so much focus on this analytics debate. Maybe it's actually just about the money, making $60+ million the next 3 years and then another big deal after that, but also the money tied to the personality, the ego, the approach aspect with Jaylen Brown that some teams just may have wanted nothing to do with.
But, I mean, professional athlete with big ego. Oh, my God. Like, breaking news. Like, Jaylen Brown thinks highly of himself. Like, Jaylen Brown has a Twitch stream. Like, I never got the impression that, like, Jaylen Brown, bad guy. Like, far from it. Like, Jaylen Brown,
sure,
really hard worker. Jaylen Brown, really smart guy. Jaylen Brown, huge overachiever. Like, I think Jaylen Brown is one of the 10 best two-way players in the sport. Again, from my dumb eye test brain. Like, I am so shocked by this, but I know that so many smart people in the league seem to disagree with me that I just think that there has to be something that has yet to be reported on this story, because if nobody can make sense of it, and one of the smartest people in the NBA sold off Jaylen Brown for 30 cents on the dollar, I feel like there's some sort of active journalism that's going to happen in the next 48 to 72 hours that's going to illuminate this, and we're going to be like, oh, okay, and it'll make a little bit more sense, because there's too big of a disconnect right now.
Well, I mean, there's a couple things. I mean, earlier today on my podcast, I reported how last summer and entering this past season, Boston had thought, hey, we're probably going to underachieve. Maybe we'll sell high on Jaylen Brown. So they thought about it entering the year, and then they were on a 50-plus win pace, and they felt like Jason Tatum had a good chance to come back, and he did. So they decided to keep Jaylen Brown, decided to move forward. But they had thoughts about this a year ago at this time after Jason Tatum ruptured his Achilles. So that's one aspect of it. And I think the other aspect of it with Jaylen Brown is there's been reporting about he never made a trade demand. He never asked out. Well, like, he also did like Instagram posts saying that he should be traded somewhere. He's respected. In the statement that he put out earlier today, he thanked the fans. He thanked the city of Boston. He did not thank the Celtics ownership, coaches, teammates, or anybody in the organization. And so I think there's some type of animosity. Not at all. But there might have been some friction with the front office or even with Jason Tatum that has yet to be fully revealed to be reported on. And so I think we're going to learn more there about why Boston took the deal that they did.
All right, before we move on to the Sixers side, I got two things. Like the negative plus minus or the on-off numbers with Jaylen Brown are just weird. And the fact that the Celtics are 36-6 win-loss record without Jaylen Brown over the last 3 seasons, also weird for a player that, again, I am convinced is very good at basketball. Other point I'd like to make. We'll show you. Less than 3 weeks ago, I proposed some trades, some Jaylen Brown trades. June 23rd, 2 weeks ago. This one to the Rockets. And I said there would be other draft picks thrown in coming to Boston. And it was Kevin Durant and Jabari Smith. Celtics fans hated me. They're like, that's the worst trade I've ever seen. Let's throw up another trade. Let's just throw up another trade. I was like, well, what about Kawhi Leonard and multiple first-round picks? Celtics fans were like, idiotic that we would take a guy who's 6 years older than Jaylen Brown. As Parkins, you don't know ball. I had to mute a million conversations. You were very mean to me, honestly. And let's throw up another. I was like, what about if we try to piece it together with 3 young, interesting players from Atlanta and a couple of picks? Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Kuminga, Richache, it's a pick. Celtics fans were like, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my entire life. And then 8 days later, you get Paul George and a pick that they're like, it could be a first or a swap and some seconds. So I'm just saying, I'd like an apology from the Celtics fans, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Let's talk.
That was me from my burner. I'm sorry, Danny.
Oh, yeah, you're very mean online. Okay, let's talk Philly's side of this. All of a sudden, on paper, they are one of the more fascinating teams in the NBA. Joel Embiid, can he stay on the court? VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, and Jaylen Brown. And I guess in a now somewhat loaded Eastern Conference, with Giannis staying in the East in Miami, with Kawhi Leonard coming to Toronto, with Boston still being, oh yeah, by the way, basically the co-favorites right behind the Knicks in the East. Do you look at Philadelphia as being a title contender with Jaylen Brown?
Yeah. They're a title contender. I think that's the safe answer there with Philadelphia. Yes, they are. However, I do have my concerns about the overall roster, Danny, because they signed Ariel Hukporti as their insurance for Joel Embiid, who inevitably is going to get hurt, inevitably going to miss time. This team has probably one of the worst benches of any projected playoff team in the entire Eastern Conference. And what have we seen the last 3 champions? The importance of depth with Boston, Oklahoma City, and then this year, of course, with the New York Knicks winning with a very deep bench, winning some important games of Jose Alvarado's of the world. And Philly has a very shallow bench. And then the hierarchy of this team. You're getting a motivated Jaylen Brown trying to prove everybody, not just Boston, wrong, but everybody in the league, that I'm the best. I'm the best player here. I'm truly top 6 in MVP, actually better than that. And now you're putting him with Tyrese Maxey, and you're putting him with VJ Edgecombe and Joel Embiid. What does he take away from those guys when he is somebody who hasn't necessarily made his teammates better? And so I do worry about the balance with those starters, even though on paper it definitely makes the Sixers better, undeniably, raises their ceiling, raises their floor. But I do have issues with the roster as a whole.
Yeah, it's a very odd fit. But if you told me Joel Embiid was healthy, which I have, again, no expectation that he's going to be healthy for a full playoff run, but if you told me Joel Embiid was healthy, I would say absolutely they're a title contender. Just because it feels like Maxey is great but hasn't hit his ceiling, and Edgecombe clearly hasn't hit his ceiling, and whatever version of – I mean, Jaylen Brown said you're going to turn me into a monster for doubting me when we thought he was going to get traded for Giannis. He just got traded for Paul George. I tell you, whatever version of Jaylen Brown, the monster we are going to get, could be on infinity at this point. And the other thing, sometimes in the media we talk like, well, you can't trade within a division, or you want to trade a guy out of conference. Boston just traded him to Philly. They're like, what is their historical hated rival? I honestly think Jaylen Brown might put up 70 points the first time that he sees the Celtics on the schedule.
70 and a win or a loss? That's the question.
I don't think he will care. I honestly don't think he will care. But it'll be must-see TV in the East. KOC, good stuff, man. Thank you for always being available to us here at the OT. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Coming up, is this the year that the Ravens get over their playoff woes? Former Raven Kyle Van Noy joins us in studio next. And the countdown clock is on. Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal taking on Croatia. 7 Eastern tonight on Fox.
So good, so good, so good.
New summer arrivals are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Get ready to save big with up to 60% off brands like Rag & Bone, Levi's, Adidas, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
Countdown clock off and running. Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal. As you see the fans getting pumped for the game, we are about 90 minutes away. Portugal and Croatia tonight, 7 Eastern on Fox. Welcome back to the OT. Two-time Super Bowl champion Kyle Van Noy joins me now in studio. Let's go to Baltimore, where Kyle spent the last 3 seasons as a Raven. Lamar took the field for off-season workouts under new head coach Jesse Minter. Mark Andrews telling CBS watching Lamar Jackson add new things to his repertoire is a, quote, scary sight. It's been a busy offseason in Baltimore as we take a look at some of the notable offseason moves. Max Crosby was almost on that list. He was actually for a minute. A lot of hype, though, surrounding the Ravens. The odds for them, odds-on favorites to win the North. Up there for the conference and the Super Bowl, second best odds out of the AFC there. Kyle, we appreciate you joining us in studio. You had an up-close and personal look in Baltimore. It's a new era after 18 years with John Harbaugh. Expectations for them this year?
Expectations are high. I mean, they're at the highest of heights. You don't just make a change like that. You don't just move on for Harbaugh just because. Obviously, Mr. Bouchard felt like a change needed to happen. He did that by going to get Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter is from the tree of Mike McDonald. So they're trying to get that back to that defensive prowess they've always had. They're trying to bring back the bullies of Baltimore. I think they can do that with that type of defense. I think when you have guys like Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, Travis Jones, and you bring in a guy like Trey Hendrickson, who Minter said is a closer, you're looking to get closer to that. They've spent a lot of money. They have one of the highest paid teams on defense. They're really paid very well over there, which is good as a player, but they got to see that transformation onto January and to February.
It was so shocking because John Harbaugh, longest tenured coach, right, in one spot, 18 years in Baltimore. You were just there for the last 3. Jesse Minter, great credentials, had kind of overachieved, most people thought, with what he got out of that talent with the Chargers defense. But from your perspective of being there, did you feel like it had grown stale or they needed a new voice or anything like that? Because it was a pretty shocking moment when it happened.
Yeah, it was shocking, but when you go from 2023, if you look at the path, you go from the AFC Championship, expectations were win a Super Bowl. Then you go to the divisional round. Expectations were to win another Super Bowl. It goes down. Then you don't make the playoffs. Something needs to shake. And I think they eventually made the right move. The Giants saw that, got Harbaugh, paid him $100 million, so he ended up making out just fine. But for the Ravens, we want to see that success in the playoffs. That's something that when I was there, we weren't able to do. Turnovers have been the main issue during that, having turnovers and then not making enough. I think you bring in a tough-nosed coach like Minter with the OC like Declan, who's from the Ben Johnson tree, so you're going to get a lot of passing, and then they're going to rely on the players that they already have. He's not coming in and he's starting from scratch where he's doing a rebuild. No, he's coming in for the expectations to win right now.
It's a young head coach,
yeah.
It's a young OC, but Super Bowl or bust mentality for a first-time head coach that's not normal.
No, it isn't normal. But there's teams that have done it. John Gruden did it back when he was with the Buccaneers. I see that same thing. The foundation was already leveled. It's right there. They have guys like Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, of course. And then on the flip side, you have the defensive guys that you need. So you're coming in here bringing that type of style that you have in your previous stops, like in Los Angeles, and you're bringing that over like they did with the Chicago Bears, bringing their own flavors, their own juice. And I'm excited for those guys to get that type of coaching.
I want to ask you more about Lamar Jackson. I've loved him as a talent since Louisville. I distinctly remember a game against Clemson where him and Deshaun Watson were doing battle, and I was like, oh, this guy is just
different.
He's just different.
Yeah.
I was like, his athleticism, even if it was a weird system that he played in college, I was like, he's just a better athlete than everybody. This is going to translate on some level. And then it's been way better than I even expected. But obviously, he's fallen short. The playoff performances haven't been there. You mentioned, the loss of the AFC Championship to the Chiefs, the game to Buffalo a couple of years back. He's the all-time leading rusher for a quarterback. But last year, fewest, rushing attempts in a season in his career. Injured all year.
Yeah.
We made a big deal out of it on the show. Is he on the injury report? Is he practicing? Misses some games. But it was just I guess my question is not about him as a talent, because that's undeniable. I have questioned whether or not he's going to age well into his 30s because of the athleticism as it wanes. Is his style of play sustainable?
I believe it is, because I truly, fully don't believe you've seen him run as fast as possible. That's how fast he is. It makes it look like he's out there doing slow motion, but he's that fast. And I think he could sustain it for as long as he wants to and wants to put the work in. I think at the end of the day, you see what quarterbacks are winning the last game, and that is a pocket passer. Yes, Mahomes can move, and Jalen Hurts ended up winning in the pocket. Matthew Stafford winning in the pocket. Those are the most recent. Sam Darnold winning in the pocket. I know he had a defense, but still had to make some throws. At the end of the day, you got to make those throws in the pocket, and I believe Lamar Jackson can. And with a OC like him and like Declan providing, and what I want to also say is the O-line. The O-line getting better than what they have been. The O-line leaning on Ronnie Stanley. Yes, they have to replace Tyler Linderbaum, but getting that to make him safe and feel like he can throw from the pocket where he's comfortable, I think that's going to get get the job done.
So you think he's long for Baltimore?
I think
contract is still a question out there.
I know that's going to be the big thing. Is this year is going to be make it or break it for a lot of things. I really believe that, just because you have the contract issue, you have a lot of things coming up. Roquan Smith, guarantees. Kyle Hamilton another year older, different things like that. So this year is a big year, and I'm excited because I think he knows that, understands that, and he's ready for the challenge.
All right, so we have a current NFL player. Don't have your team yet for next year, but a guy who's basically your exact age. You are 2 months older than Aaron Donald. I want to show you this video.
Ooh-wee.
Those are pretty heavyweights. Apparently, everyone's thinking he's coming back. I don't know. Seems like he is in pretty good shape. So he's your age, you're still playing, but he hasn't played ball in a couple of years. but he's working out like that. That look like a man ready to make a comeback to you?
Yeah, it does, honestly. It's a man that I believe could make a comeback if he wanted to. I think he's that different when it comes to the type of player, the type of mindset he has. I also think he does a good job with the media, getting talked about. So let me take advantage of a little bit of shine. He's done a really good job since he's been done playing of staying in the media, being talked about, as well as being in the community with the Rams. He does a lot of giving back to the community. He shows up to the games in Los Angeles. So if I'm him, I'm taking advantage. You want to talk to me? I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm working out, looking good for the kids, coaching. I'm staying ready. And I know that man could play some football if he wanted to.
So, defensive guy. They also got Myles Garrett. Ooh. So I just, paint a picture of Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald operating on the same D-line.
It's a lot of offensive coordinators that are begging Donald not to come back. I know that. And a lot of head coaches that would be scared if he came back. And I really think with those two on a football field, they might be one of the most dangerous pairs to ever play if they were able to suit up. But, Aaron Donald, he might like retirement life. He makes those workouts look good. He's making it look easy with the amount of weight he's pulling and pushing, that's for sure.
He looks like he's at his prime. We will have you back tomorrow. We appreciate you coming out here. Did the USA, though, jump into the top 5 after last night's big win? Dax McCarty updating the big board coming up next. And the countdown clock off and running. Cristiano Ronaldo getting ready. Hour and 21 minutes away. Ronaldo, 41 years old, taking on 40-year-old Luka Modric. Is it the final World Cup game for the loser tonight? It's all coming up on Fox.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Catch every match on Fox 1, and while you're at it, check out our YouTube pages, FIFA World Cup Now, our star players Cam and Alexi Lalas' State of the Union. Fox has you covered through it all. And the countdown clock is on. Cristiano Ronaldo, you might have heard of him. Portugal, Croatia tonight, 7 Eastern on Fox. Welcome back to the OT as we are in World Cup Corner. Spain just wrapped up a 3-0 victory over Austria. 2 goals from Dax.
Oyarzabal.
There it is. He wanted to put some spice on it. 1 from Porro to send them to the round of 16. That plus the action throughout the week. Dax, it's time to update the World Cup big board form, and it's fluid.
Absolutely. It is
Take
fluid.
It away, my friend.
Form matters. Spain, top 3, they're not moving. Oyarzabal, what a performance today. You don't want to try it?
Listen, I know how to say Oyarzabal, but I'm not going to act like,
Netherlands, Germany, 2 traditional powers, knocked out in the round of 32. We hardly knew you. See you later.
You can't be on the board.
You can't be on the board in my power rankings.
If you're not in the tournament.
If you are not in the tournament,
I'm going to write that
see
down.
you later.
By
the way, England, they won the game, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to hold on to them for a second. They could potentially be on the move. The Samba Boys, Nick Wright's favorite team, Brazil moves up for a very good win against Japan. And now we get in to our CONCACAF bros. Hold on to Colombia for me because CONCACAF is moving right up. Mexico haven't conceded a goal in this tournament. Their performance against Ecuador was the best performance I have seen out of the Mexican national team in years. They are going to be a massive test for this English national team, who doesn't look great, by the way.
I cannot wait for that game. It's going to be ridiculous.
USA. We're moving up. That was a great performance again against Bosnia. Europe, right there under Mexico. Look, Mexico hasn't conceded a goal in this tournament. U.S. men's national team rotated. All the things, I get it. Colombia. They haven't played yet. Only Argentina and Colombia are the only teams that haven't played yet. You are moving down just by virtue of not having played, and the other teams around you are moving up. And now we get in to who comes back? Norway. Wasn't thrilled with what you did in your last group stage game against France. I punished you accordingly.
Yes.
You lost, and now, guess what? You had a big win against Ivory Coast. I wasn't thrilled with your performance. You come back in at number 10. Erling Haaland against Gabriel in the round of 16. That's going to be a heavyweight fight. Morocco, huge movers. I wasn't enamored with their group stage performance, even though they played okay. They were a little bit inconsistent. They got results. I loved their performance against the Netherlands. They jump 5 spots into number 5 because I think that they would be the best team and favored to win all these games based on what I saw against the Netherlands. That means England, after winning, comes in at number 8. Quite honestly, Danny, I was not thrilled with England's performance at all. I thought they were really poor, and they got saved by their star, Harry Kane, with two great goals. I think DR Congo deserves a lot of credit for how they played, but that is the updated big board.
All right, bonus take. Mexico-England is going to be the match of the tournament at this point. In terms of atmosphere at Azteca, that's going to be absolutely ridiculous.
I won't fight you on that one.
Okay. France was your pick. France is everyone's number 1. My first question, Spain is my pick. They haven't allowed a goal. Argentina's been amazing. How big of a gap is there between one and everybody else?
Well, do you remember what we did when you asked me about the United States national team and about the gap between
we
the
debated
top
if it was a river or a Great Lake or an ocean.
We're looking at not a Great Lake, but a pretty big lake.
Pretty big lake.
Maybe Lake Tahoe. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty big lake.
It's an expensive lake.
France looks borderline unstoppable.
Okay.
The guys up top are the best attack, the most dynamic attack in the entire tournament. You have Kylian Mbappe, who completely dominates the World Cup. You have Michael Olise, who is the best playmaker in the World Cup. France, it looks like a big proposition for any team to beat them.
All right, and then we've talked about this throughout the tournament with the big board, about how it is form and result.
Correct.
England at 8. The U.S. would not be favored against England.
No, they would not be favored.
So how are you balancing it? Are you punishing England more for form than result? It feels like that balance might be a little off.
I was watching the England game, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, what is it exactly that England does well? Do they look really solid defensively? No, they don't. I don't believe that they have a right back that is capable of stopping a dangerous winger. Do they defend well? Not really. Their midfield, it's not dynamic. It doesn't create chances. They have 2 similar profile players in the midfield, and when you are dominating possession, you need a player that's going to change the rhythm of the game. Jude Bellingham is not a creative number 10. He is a guy who likes to crash the box, get on the end of service, and he has been very good for England, but they don't have a dynamic playmaker, and therefore they are over-reliant on Harry Kane. And when you have wingers who aren't really capable of going 1v1 and beating guys off the dribble, which we haven't seen consistently enough from Rashford, Saka, Madueke, and Anthony Gordon came in off the bench, got 2 assists to Harry Kane, but that was the first time in the entire tournament that he looked dangerous. They are over-reliant on Harry Kane, and I don't think that they are going to go down to Azteca, Mexico Stadium, and win that game. I think Mexico. I'm not picking Mexico yet because I need to. I need to think about this. I just think that if Mexico. Well, I have England going to the final. Okay, so I need to be really careful.
Then you're picking England.
I'm undecided. I'm undecided. Right now, I am going to see how England, what kind of messaging we're getting out of England. I don't like the fact that they're already making altitude an excuse. I don't like that, okay?
Well, listen, you said that you got Mexico above England.
Based on form.
You said you don't think England is going to Azteca and winning, but you got England winning the whole tournament.
Based on form, I absolutely think Mexico is the favorite to go win that game. So I think England might try to take that one to penalties, kind of like the Netherlands did against Morocco.
All right. It's a fluid big board, but that is Dax's big board. Coming up.
Don't bottle it, England.
What is next for the Celtics? My final thoughts on what I think is next in Boston. And the countdown clock is on. Ronaldo taking on Portugal. He is on Portugal, taking on Croatia tonight, 7 Eastern on Fox.
Pace Checkout is offered by your banks and credit unions. So when you shop online at participating merchants, your cards appear in one place, ready to use and kept up to date. And the best part, your actual card number isn't shared when you check out, because boundaries are healthy, like no work emails after 6. One small step for boundaries, one big leap for checkout. Pace. It checks out. Activation required. See Pace.com to learn more. Terms and conditions apply.
The countdown clock is on. Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal taking on Croatia just over 1 hour from now. Massive game in the knockout round tonight, 7 Eastern on Fox. Welcome back to the OT. Jaylen Brown is now a 76er. which is shocking enough from the Philly side, given that it's VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid and now Jaylen Brown. But the big shocker is that Boston went from thinking they were going to get Giannis Antetokounmpo to getting what many people thought was the worst contract in the NBA in Paul George, who is 35 years old, coming off a year where he was suspended and coming off multiple years where he struggles to stay on the court. But what is most interesting to me about this is what we clearly do not know. Brad Stevens is not dumb. In fact, he is one of the best executives and an executive of the year in the NBA. If he had a hard time trading Jaylen Brown, my guess is there were not any big offers out there for Jaylen Brown. But don't forget that this year you get Jason Tatum playing the Jaylen Brown minutes on a team that won 56 games, and he added Mitchell Robinson, and he added Mike Conley. The odds makers still really like Boston. The odds makers think that Boston is one of the best teams in the whole sport and the second best team in the Eastern Conference behind the NBA champions. My running theory at this point is there was no offer out there for Jaylen Brown. He got off of that contract, and I have serious doubts on whether or not Paul George will play a single game for the Boston Celtics, and this is part of just a retooling for Boston going forward, and he'll take on a different contract for Paul George, and this was just about getting out of the Jaylen Brown business. So Boston is still going to be very good, even if right now, I have to be honest, I am very, very confused because I still believe that Jaylen Brown is one of the 8 to 10 best two-way players in the NBA. We're back tomorrow. Enjoy all the World Cup games. Coming up tonight, 7 Eastern on Fox.
Uncovered windows can make your home feel up to 20 degrees hotter. Stay cool and save up to 50% off custom window treatments during the 4th of July mega sale at Blinds.com. From outdoor shades to room darkening blinds, finding the perfect fit is easy. Get free samples, expert design help, and professional measure and install services. Or DIY with confidence and support every step of the way. Shop up to 50% off site-wide, plus huge savings on doorbusters right now during the 4th of July mega sale at Blinds.com.